Tensions are soaring in West Asia. Explosions rocked Iran's central city of Isfahan on Friday morning, giving rise to speculation that Israel's counter-strike has begun. Iran played down the incident, saying no foreign missile had been fired into Iran. Well, the fact is, the Israel-Iran conflict is out of the shadows, and world powers are worried. In our top story today, we question, can West Asia afford a direct Iran-Israel war?
The latest scare as the Israel-Iran conflict comes out of the shadows. News of blast in Isfahan on Friday morning. Alarm bells rang out. Flights moving into Iran's airspace took a sharp U-turn as focus turned to the safety of the country's nuclear facilities. Tehran chose to play it down though, saying there were no signs of foreign attacks, saying the explosions were caused by its air defense systems. There's no turning away from the fact, however, that the heat is on, and on both sides.
In general, we're not in favor of war, one way or the other. War is destructive. We're against war. We do not accept. Whether this side attacks or that side attacks, we do not accept it. We're not happy with the killing of people, whether they're Iranians, Israelis, or Gazans.
Go back just 5 days. April 13th marked a new chapter in Iran-Israel tensions. Iran launched a flurry of missiles and drones towards Israel, retaliating to a suspected Israeli attack on its embassy in Syria. Israel and its allies intercepted 99% of that fire. Global powers pressed Israel not to respond or to ensure that any retaliation was limited to prevent a wider escalation. Israel thanked its friends but stressed it reserved the right to make a decision for itself.
I thank our friends for their support in the defense of Israel, and I say this, both support in words and support in actions. They also have all kinds of suggestions and advice. I appreciate it, but I want to make it clear. We will make our own decisions, and the state of Israel will do everything necessary to defend itself.
Iran on its part is calling its April 13 attack a trailer. Tehran warned that even the tiniest retaliation by Israel will have massive repercussions.
If the Zionist regime makes the slightest move to violate our territory and harm the national interests of the Islamic Republic, they must understand that they will face a severe and heavy response.
And in this war of words, Iran added a new dimension, asserting it will review its nuclear doctrine. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali spoke out on Tehran's nuclear program, which the West suspects has military purposes.
If any threat or action against our country's nuclear facility is made by the Zionist regime and used as a tool to pressure the Islamic Republic, it becomes possible for the Islamic Republic to review its nuclear doctrine and policies and to deviate from its previously announced considerations.
As various countries condemned Tehran's strikes on Israel, Tehran called the envoys of Britain, France and Germany to tell them that it is an irresponsible stance. Israel's war cabinet is using the opportunity to garner global support against Iran.
The world clearly stood together with Israel in face of danger. Israel against Iran, the world against Iran. This is the result. This is a strategic achievement which we must leverage for Israel's security.
Israel is facing pleas to step back from the brink of open warfare and choose de-escalation.
The Middle East is on a precipice. Recent days have seen a perilous escalation in words and deeds. One miscalculation, one miscommunication, one mistake could lead to the unthinkable, a full-scale regional conflict that would be devastating for all involved and for the rest of the world. The moment of maximum peril must be a time for maximum restraint.
The United States condemns.
The United States has gone ahead and slapped Iran with more sanctions. Other world powers are looking to put a stop on Iranian production of drones and missiles. European Union leaders are making efforts to isolate Iran.
We condemn this attack launched by Iran against Israel. We have decided to put in place sanctions against Iran. This is a clear signal that we want to send. And we also want to do everything to protect the civilians. Each civilian life matters.
Meanwhile, activity has picked up on another war front in West Asia. On the Israel-Lebanon border, Israel and Iran-backed Hezbollah are trading fire, striking relentlessly at each other's military posts. Israel says its fighter jets struck Hezbollah infrastructure in southern Lebanon, while Hezbollah claims that it hit Israel's military reconnaissance command center. 14 Israeli soldiers have been killed in cross-border fire. Hezbollah announced the death of 2 of its fighters on Thursday. Over 300 people have lost their lives in Lebanon since October 7th last year. Observers watch with concern. A former Mossad official is worried about what lies ahead.
I described Iran sending missiles, launching missiles to Israel, and which actually happened just the other day. And I described the Israeli response that at that time, when Israel was losing in all fronts, it had to be a nuclear strike on Iran, and this is what I described.
So, here we are?
Just 2 steps before.
The world attention has shifted from the war in Gaza. All eyes are now on how Israel will respond to Iran's weekend attack. The IDF troops are back in parts of northern and southern Gaza and are continuing the assault. The bigger question now is, will the IDF start an operation in Rafah, where currently over 1.4 million displaced people are taking shelter?
What should I say? I swear we are tired. What's happening is a disgrace. What have those who were killed done to deserve this? They should look at us with compassion. They should look at us with mercy. We are enough. We are melting. We can't take any more than this. Everyone dear to us is gone. What is left? Who should we live for? For who?
After 2 weeks of absence, the Israeli tanks are back in northern Gaza. Trying to get back to their homes, the displaced residents are being driven back by the Israeli military with firing and warnings. Hundreds of displaced Palestinians are being prevented from returning home in the northern enclave.
After 7 months, that's it. We are all just waiting for death one by one. We don't know when and how. Children like these, the majority of them are children. We pull them out and we can't tell them apart. We don't know who's left under the rubble.
Israel is shelling the Gaza Strip. For the Palestinians, no place is safe. That even includes UN Palestinian refugee agencies, according to reports.
I was sitting and making food for my children. Then there was an airstrike. My husband was injured and my children were injured. But I can't find my daughter. They attacked us when we were inside the room.
Besides North Gaza, Israeli warplanes also carried out airstrikes in Rafah, once designated as a safe place for the Palestinians in the south.
The destruction in Rafah. Every day there's targeting in Rafah. Every day. Daily there's targeting in Rafah. There's no safe place, not in Rafah, nor in Khan Yunis, or in Gaza, and not in the entire Gaza Strip. They brought the displaced to Rafah, and as you can see, the targeting. Every day there's targeting in Rafah.
Israel has long threatened a ground offensive in Rafah. Reports say Israel has deployed extra artillery and armored carriers in the periphery of the Gaza Strip. The IDF claims it is arranging 40,000 tents to prepare for the evacuation of the displaced, taking refuge in Rafah. But it is a different story on the ground, according to Palestinians. The presence of the Israeli ground troops has increased in northern Gaza. This includes Beit Hanun, where fresh raids are forcing many families who returned home after Israeli forces had withdrawn to move out again. According to Gaza health officials, so far over 33,000 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli fire since October 7. It has turned much of the densely populated strip, home to 2.3 million people, into rubble, twisted steel and dust.
With that, it's time for a short break. But stay with us. We have a lot more lined up for you on the other side of the break. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.